This is the Waupaca County Board of Supervisors meeting.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Listen, go sit someplace else.
We'll call the Waupaca County Board of Supervisors meeting to order. It's Tuesday, August 18th. It is about 9 a.m. and we have roll call. Jill?
Supervisor Vasquez.
Here.
Boyer.
Here.
Craig, Mary.
Here.
Craig, Patricia.
Here.
Ellis.
Yes.
Fedowitz.
Here.
Golding.
Here.
Hardy.
Here.
Yeager.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Keppen.
Here.
Kussman.
Here.
Lear.
Here.
McClone.
Here.
Morak.
Here.
Muck.
Here.
Murphy, Gerald.
Here.
Murphy, Terry. Murphy, Terry. Newman.
Here.
Nygaard.
Here.
Pullman.
Here.
Ritchie.
Here.
Rowan.
Here.
Spearings.
Here.
Wengelski.
Here.
Will.
Here.
Zog. Supervisor Zog.
He was trying to get on, I know that.
He was just on, so I'm going to see if he's muted. Excuse me for a moment. I don't see that he's.
Talked to him yesterday afternoon. He said he would be online here.
I talked to him on the way in this morning.
Did you?
He was gonna go get on.
Supervisor Zog, if you can hear me, can you unmute yourself? It's not letting me unmute you. You should see it in the bottom corner of your screen. There should be a little mic that you can click on. It'll have a red line through it. I'm going to unmute all and see what. Supervisor Zog, can you hear me? I have you unmuted. Can you hear me, Supervisor Zog? Is your volume turned up? Well, Supervisor Zog's computer's with us. I'm not sure if Supervisor Zog is with us. At this point, I'm going to mark him as excused, and if he is able to join us and speak up, then we will add him on. So that would mean that we have 25 members present, 1 absent, and 1 having connectability problems.
Clerk, is this on his iPhone?
Pardon me?
He's not on here with his iPhone, is he?
I cannot tell, sir.
Because I got his iPhone number. I can call him.
I can't tell what type of.
Why don't you? Give me a phone call right now. Hello, Fred, are you with us? We can't hear you either, but you're coming sporadic. Every other word I hear from you here. What should I tell him to do?
Does he? Yeah, his computer is on. And he's unmuted. I saw his face before.
Yeah, we saw your face before on here, but then we had to turn it off.
No, he did it. I did not.
No, I know. But now, can you try talking to us now? The meeting? Can you see us? I get every other word, Fred. Can you see us at our meeting?
Ours is working pretty good.
Shh, don't say anything. excuse him for this meeting.
Any calling on the phone line? Isn't there a phone line with it?
There is a phone line that's listed on, and I don't have it.
Are you on your computer or are you on the phone? Well, you're on your iPad.
Yeah.
Okay, I can hear you fine now. Can you hear the meeting on the phone then?
Yeah, if he passes the screen, there's a little drop down thing that'll come up on the Zoom sheet.
We're gonna take your mask off. I can't understand you.
Supervisor Zog, if you tap your screen and see a drop down where it says Zoom and then connect by audio, actually, even if you look in the bottom of your iPad on the left-hand side, you should see a little headset. Click on that and you should see a microphone. If you click on the microphone, that should connect you.
He zoomed on solid waste yesterday.
And let the record show that Supervisor Terry Murphy is here.
Okay, I'll put the call on Terry Murphy then. Well, I don't know what to tell you, Fred. We gotta continue the meeting, so. Okay. You're watching it, okay. Sounds good. Thank you, Fred. He said he's watching it.
Okay, well, we won't be able to hear his vote, so I'll excuse him at this time. And if he is able to join us, we'll add him to the votes at that point.
Would that phone line be on his thing? I texted him to call it on the phone line.
Yeah, then he'll show up on here. Yeah, there's a number. I'm sorry, I didn't bring it with me. Actually,
It's a very short.
it doesn't show here.
Is there open meeting statements fulfilled?
Yes, it has.
Okay. Please stand for the title meditation.
Big shower. I pledge allegiance. Debbie, thank you. I wouldn't.
Allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Thank you. We'll talk about that later. You want to come back later? Great.
Okay, we'd like to get the agenda approved. So motion by
Supervisor Weir.
Supervisor Schingler-Lair. A second by Jerry Murphy. Any questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion is carried.
What is
By
that?
the way, we have the minutes before us of the
Oh, the
21st of July,
I
2020.
looked at another one.
The motion by Mr. Moore, second by Mr. Spearing. Any discussion regarding that?
Oh, yeah.
Please vote then. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried. And the agenda is approved. Minutes are approved. Resolutions. Number 13, 2020-21. Budget amendment, routes to recovery allocation.
Now therefore be it resolved that the 2020 budget is amended allowing $851,375 to the general fund contingency appropriation.
Motion by Supervisor
Coleman?
Holden, and a second by Supervisor, I can't think of this.
Pat Craig?
Any questions regarding that resolution? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
That motion is carried. Resolution number 14, 2020-21. Contingency transfer, body scanner, sheriff's office corrections program.
Now therefore be it resolved that $150,000 be transferred from the contingency fund to the sheriff's office correction program to fund the purchase of a body scanner.
Okay, there's
Vasquez? Supervisor Vasquez?
Yep, there's a motion by Supervisor Vasquez and a second by Supervisor Laird. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you. Ordinances 2020-709, amendment to chapter 34, petition number Z-018-20, Town of Matson. Leroy Jacoby Trust for a zoning map amendment from AR district to RR-O district, approximately 2.25 acres.
Morning.
Morning, Ryan.
Leroy Jacoby is looking at doing a farm consolidation. That's what they're, so you can see that it's a 2.25 acre lot. The reason for that is that's what the land is necessary to encompass all their structures. In order to do that, they need to rezone into rural residential overlay as this is within farm preservation.
There's a motion by Mr. Johnson for approval. Correct. And a second by Supervisor Craig. Questions or discussion?
Patricia Craig?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's okay, thank you. I wasn't looking up.
Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion's okay and it's approved. Okay, we're now on a child support program report by our attorney, Diane Mullins.
And see me smiling under my mask. Oh, good morning, everyone. It's August, so that means it's Child Support Awareness Month. There's a proclamation in your packet from the governor, and every August I come and talk about the other hat I wear. So I try to make it a little bit different for folks who have heard it before. So brand new slide template this year. So tell me if you like it or not. So our mission is helping families become independent and remain self-sufficient by establishing paternity and by obtaining and enforcing court orders for child support and medical support. So that's it in a nutshell. So I'll give you 15 more slides to talk about that one particular sentence. So who we are, go ahead, Jill, thanks. So I'm the administrator of the program. 35% of my time is dedicated to managing the staff and budgetary issues, setting policies for the program. Our attorney for the program is Assistant Corporation Counsel David Feeney. 50% of his time is dedicated to being the prosecutor on child support cases in court. So he is our face in court, and I'm the person behind the scenes. And together we work with a staff of 4 child support specialists. They might be more commonly referred to as the case managers. And then we have 1 administrative assistant position, and that's currently vacant. So the 7 of us work together to provide services to our families. Go ahead, Joe. Thank you. So we divide our cases into what's called a 4D caseload, or IVD caseload, or a non-4D caseload, non-4D, and IVD. So if you are a 4D case, which means you are current or former public assistance family with an absent parent, or you are a parent or a legal guardian and you apply for our program services and the application is free, you get all our range of services applicable to your particular case. So that means if a child is born without a father on the birth certificate, we can establish paternity through an administrative or a court process. If there's no child support in the household and there's an absent parent, we can establish child support order. So the absent parent is being the parent with children. Or if they share placement of the children according to their placement ratios. If you have an existing child support order, we can take efforts to collect the child support that's court ordered. We have a wide range of locate options, so we can locate parents who are estranged from their families so that we can establish paternity and support. And what I mean, we have a range of connectors. We're like big brothers, so we connect up with unemployment insurance, all of the tax, state and federal tax information that's submitted, the Department of Motor Vehicles. So if you title a vehicle, we can find what your address is. So there's a real range of connections so we can locate people. And we also subscribe to a program called CLEAR, which also is a the managed service where they is a database of tracking names, addresses, dates of birth, and social. So we try to do our best to locate parents so we can establish orders of paternity and divorce. And then by federal regulation, every 33 months, we review child support obligations and we modify them where appropriate. So we're always, we're managing that every 33 months we're in court, or we're reviewing your case to see whether or not your support is appropriate. So that's a full range of services provided to our 4D case. Go ahead, John. If you're a non-4D case, you get limited case management services. So which means we're there at the beginning, we're there at the end. So when a support order is entered and you're not a benefit household and you haven't applied, we'll establish your case on our system, our database, which is called the KID system. We'll send out the first income withholding to the parent's employer, and then we'll let it sit till it ends, and then we'll terminate the income withholding. So once that order is on the KID system, that's the accounting. So the money will, that's the bank. Money will come in through the trust fund, and it will be dispersed to the recipient by the trust fund. So if we don't do that, that's a state function. And also, if your case is only maintenance, we just do limited services because we're the child support program, we're not the alimony program. So what does that mean? So it's August 9th, we have almost 3,000 cases, and we split our 40 caseload by the payer's last name. So one of my specialists right now, the early alphabet and the end of the alphabet, has 602 cases that she manages that are assigned to her. You can see the other split, 524, 544, 435. And then there's a portion of the caseload that's assigned to me that is the non-40 cases. So any work that needs to be done on those cases, I take a peek at it. Is it something that I can do, or is it something that I push them back to the office for the case manager? So there are cases that are assigned to me as well. So almost 900 cases that are under my worker type. So that's how much we do. So who pays for it? What's our budget look like? So we are, luckily, we get a large portion of our funding through federal dollars that are passed through through the state. State passes through us. So there are two ways that federal money comes through. One is through a federal match program, and one is through the contract allocations. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later on. The second source is what's called medical support liability. So we can collect through court orders repayments of 1/2 of birth costs when medical assistance or badger care pays for a child's birth. We collect that from fathers. The federal regulations prohibit collections from mothers. So every dollar that we collect of birth costs, we get to keep 15 cents. So it's medical assistance dollars, but we keep 15 cents of every dollar collected. And that's not a huge number throughout the year. It's maybe like $7,000 total throughout the year. The state also gives us through their general purpose revenue medical support. So that's support that we get for to encourage private insurance to become supporting of the family instead of badger care. So the cases that have private insurance in place instead of public insurance in place, health insurance, then we get support liability or general purpose revenue for that. We also levy dollars that are allocated to our program, and then we can recoup the costs from the actual case participants. So when we pay $75 to serve you, we ask that the court assign that as a cost allocated to the payer in the case, and then eventually we get those costs recouped through the court order. So I should mention you can ask any questions at any time, so I'd be happy to interrupt my slide presentation if you have questions. Something burning. So this is more about the federal money. So how does that work? So we get federal money for allowable expenses related to 4D cases and certain types of activities related to non-4D cases. So that's why when we talked about the limited case management program for non-4D, that's what we get paid for. We don't get, if we were doing all the other things, case managing, all the other things on the case, we wouldn't get paid for it. But we would, so that's why we narrow the focus on non-4D case and provide the full range on non-4D cases. Importantly, all of our allowable costs that are expended on the program are reimbursed through the federal match, 66 cents on the dollar. So a huge portion of our salary and fringe, every dollar that the county pays our salaries, we can get reimbursed by 66 cents on the dollar. And there are other types of programs, allowable costs that we submit every month to be able to be reimbursed from that federal match. The other way we get funded is through state contracts. And this is the state, again, managing federal money, but we get this money based on performance. So right now there are 4 performance standards that we have to meet. If we get 80% measurement on those 4 standards for each standard, then we get 100% of the contract allocation. And the allocation is based on our caseload. So we get, it's pro rata statewide. So this is the same for all the county and tribal child support agencies in the state, these contracts. So, and sometimes the counties don't earn all of their allocated funds. So there's a pool of money at the end of the year, which is unearned funds statewide. And then the state goes through again, passes through and passes it out pro rata according to your caseload. So I think last year we got something like $13,000 of unearned funds. So they keep, allocating the money in terms of performance. So this is our revenue for our program. And so in terms of the contract funding for how they do those formulas, for calendar year 2021, they look at our performance in 2018. How did we perform in 2018? Then they assume we're going to perform at that 80% or whatever the percentage was in 2021. And they project budget allocations for us. So here for next year, it's almost $270,000. So, and I want to stop to give a huge shout out for Sherry Readers in the finance department. She manages all these reports for me and is just a pleasure to work with, and 2, understands this way better than I do. So if you have questions about the budgeting aspect, Sherry can certainly answer those questions. I was going to put on the budget spreadsheet for you, but it just looked like a nightmare. So it looks like a nightmare to me just looking at it. So, but she has the skills that I don't have to manage that in. So every month we have to report those matching dollars, allowable costs to the state, and then seek that reimbursement. So what are we measured on? So we talked about the 4 performance standards that we're measured on. One is how much money we collect of child support each month, or how much money is ordered to be collected. So what's the total child support amount, and what do we collect each month? We also have to collect on back child support or arrears. So for every dollar we collect on a federal arrears case, and that's technical, I won't go there, but that's 100% for the year. So these are likely to be older foster care cases, a lot of those cases. Thank you, Jill.
Sorry, I was doing so well.
You were. Okay. The third one is court order established. So how many cases we have with court orders in place to our total caseload. So are we getting our orders once the referral comes over from economic support or an application? Are we getting the support order entered? And the standard is we get those entered within 90 days of the referral. If we get it done within 90 days, we're meeting, we met our performance goal. Paternity, what they do with paternity is, again, this is federal money, so it starts in the fiscal year, October 1 of each year. They take a snapshot of how many children are on our caseload that do not have fathers, and then compare it to the number of fathers that we get throughout the year. So you'll see in the next slide, we're over 100% because more babies are born after October 1st, so we keep getting paternity established. Again, this has a time sensitivity to it, so we have to get from the referral coming over, we have to get paternity established within 90 days in order to get our 100%. So, thanks, Jill. So how do we compare? So these are the four performance standards. You see paternity, we're over 100%, statewide 98%. Court orders, 92, so 9 out of 10 are in place within that 90-day period, higher than the statewide average. Current support, we're right around that 80%, so 80 cents out of every dollar that's out there we're collecting for children and families in Waupaca County and statewide. Well, it can go nationwide actually. And then arrears collection rate is about 80%, and this is the most difficult one for us to collect. you can see the comparison statewide is 71%. So right now we're really doing well in our performance measurements, and I can tell you that my staff, Dave, was completely remote starting on March 6th, 19th. So he didn't step back into the building actually until May, the very end of May. And then the other case managers and the administrative assistant was mostly on campus, especially towards the end. But the case managers were only in the building 2 or 3 days a week, and that's because they had to do their printing on the state printers. So in the suite of the child support agency, only 2 or 3 out of the 5 were there at any one time, so we could keep our distance and reduce traffic. But these numbers were consistent statewide. They're consistent all year long. So they did a remarkable job adapting and being flexible and working in that group telework situation. And some of them actually really thrived and really want to go back to that, just because the flow of the work is sort of more suitable to them. So, and we also for a period of time, shut the doors and weren't allowing people in the suite. And people were able to do their business by email, by phone, or by text. We text our people too. So we were able to maintain these percentages even though there was no court. So court stopped March 18th and didn't really start again until July. So we were able to manage all of this with all those stressors in place. So I really commend the staff. They're dedicated, high quality, very skilled people and fun to work with too. Thanks, Joe. So year to date, so we collected so far $5.2 million. Yep. So our monthly average last year was almost $700,000. Year to date is $744,000 year to date. Yes.
Has it made some difference about the unemployment rate being higher?
That's a really good question. So I have a slide on that. Yep. So look at how are we done historically. I'm sorry.
You want, okay. I thought you were going back.
No, so 8.3 million, that's how we roll. And I came in 2015, so 8.3 million is, and I think we're gonna be higher this year. Go ahead, Jill. Oh, one more. So what is your money buying essentially? What are you getting bang for your buck on the levy dollars that you're spending on this program? So in 2019, approximately $72,000 was spent on the program. Using that year-to-date math, 8.3 million, $1 of levy is $115.54 in support collected. Obviously, we have contributions from the federal match and the state allocated contracts, but Pat, I can send you these slides. You don't have to write everything down. Yeah, you're welcome. So just think about that, the power of the levy dollars and power of the other programs that, that's the bang on the buck for the program. So to Dwayne's question, we really have not had a lot of unemployment issues. The unemployment, our payers who were affected by unemployment were largely in the restaurant service industry, which is not surprising, but they then were eligible for the federal payments, the unemployment payments. So if there were arrears on the case certified for federal tax intercept, and the payer then was eligible for the federal unemployment benefit, that money got captured to pay past due child support. So there was no separation about, is this for current support? It would pay for current support as well, but if there was any delinquency that were certified for federal tax offset, we would capture that money too. So in April, for the federal stimulus payments, almost $51,000 in tax intercepts alone. So that's a pandemic money, and it's good pay for current support and for delinquent pass-through support. So my committee can tell you I was like almost doing cartwheels because in May we almost collected $1 million. It was $9.3 million. $930,000, excuse me. So almost $300,000 of that was that federal money coming in. So some people were really, 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 really happy, and some people were really, really not so happy. So imagine, the calls that came in on that, and then June still $63,000. And I think we're back in the $13,000 range. So it went off the cliff now. I was just on a webinar on this a couple of weeks ago. So think about if Waupaca County captured this much money on May 4th, the Wisconsin Child Support Kids System got a file from the IRS, an electronic file, $27 million. And they had to disperse it statewide. And there was no distinction between what was past due support and what was from current support income withholding. 3 days later, on May 7th, they got another file from the IRS, $20 million. So there are 3 people at the state that were processing these payments. So imagine that overload. So the other thing that happened to us was what we're calling the unemployment insurance double dip. So if somebody was already on unemployment insurance and we had an income withholding there was no separation between the withholding attaching to the state unemployment benefit or the federal unemployment benefit. So of course it attached to both. So quite a few pairs that were on unemployment insurance where they double paid, the state recognized this issue because there was no distinction between the federal and the state going in these files. So the state went in, these 3 people went in and put what's called a pinhole. So your personal identification number on your account was put on hold until they could sort this stuff out. And it took about 2.5 weeks to sort it out. So imagine these calls. So payers expecting their unemployment, they pay their child support twice, and the state told us, you cannot do anything with the holds until we figure this out. So as a county, we could not figure, we could not help them. We could not release the money back to them until the state figured it out. So this was our May. So imagine how many phone calls we got from, unhappy people working in that mixed state during this period. So again, staff handling this with grace and trying to be compassionate and empathetic to, both sides of the equation. So that's our COVID. We love doing business in person. We like building relationships with our PACE participants, but we're more than happy that people are self-serving. So the state has a Wisconsin Child Support Online System, or CSOS. So it's like going into your own bank account. You can look at your pay history. You can see where it's coming from. You can see when it posted. You can see when it went out. You can see to whom. You can print your own payment coupons if you pay by if you're self-paid. You can pay online. There's e-check or you can call, and then you can see exactly if things are backdated or moved around. You can see what's happening on your account. So it's really like having access to an online bank account, but it's your child support account. So we really encourage people to register. It's free. You just have to set up a user account and a password, but it's a really great source of information. So we try to direct folks there first. If you still have more questions, come back and we'd be happy to help you. So, and this has been people really like it because, obviously it's 24/7 access and it's real-time information. So that's it. So thank you for your continued support. There are some, you'll see my budget coming through. So if you see applications related to the child support program, remember that 66 cents match on the dollar. So it looks like big money, but it's less than it actually is in terms of the bottom line.
Any other questions?
Yes, up here.
Joyce.
Yes, it isn't a question. I just want to congratulate Diane again. She and her team, every year, we beat the state, and I'm very, very proud of what she's done.
Thank you. Thank you, Supervisor Boyer. I should have mentioned the state is going to change the game a little bit for us in 2021. So instead of the 4 performance standards, we're going down to 2, and they're picking the 2 hardest ones. So the collections and the arrears. So we'll pivot a little bit and we'll focus more on, how are we collecting our funds and making sure we're focusing on those federal fees. So thank you, Joyce. Appreciate that very much. The last slide is also just some resources for you. And like I said, I can email the PowerPoint to everybody if you're interested, or not everybody cares. And just,
I'm going to rate you tomorrow because you email me the slides or some highlights.
Sure. Yeah.
That'd be great.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, Diane.
Yeah.
Excellent report.
Yeah, thank you.
Chair Kevin,
Yes,
can you hear me? I called in by phone too, so I can hear you now too.
okay. Thank you for being here, Supervisor Zog and Spirit.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, my report is not much. However, I did have a lengthy email from Mark O'Connell after our meeting. He wanted to thank us all for having him here and allowing him to speak a little bit about Wisconsin and what the WCA does. Mark hasn't been here for a few years, and the county board has changed considerably since the last time he was here. And he just had a compliment. He said, I think the present county board is hearing the mail just like the other one did. Great participation, and also your staff is awesome as ever. So he was always full of compliments for Waupaca County. I just wanted to pass that on. So I will try to get him back here maybe this next winter again. That would be great. So another thing is too, I learned at the law enforcement meeting yesterday, on our DHHS website, they had the COVID results, the graph, and the listings of various things about COVID. And I've been putting that on my Facebook about once a week, and I'm getting more great compliments for people where I live saying, thanks for letting us see this. And they don't realize it is on our website all the time, but for some reason, it seems my people, especially the ones in my cemetery club, don't believe in going on and looking on their screen. So at any rate, but talking about the 16 deaths, and I'm going to put you in the spot, Kathy, because you kind of told us that out of the 16 deaths, most of them were, or all of them were institutionals, right? Long-term facilities. Pretty much all 16?
Yeah, except for that first one, but that was all we gave me.
Thank you.
Okay. And that's good to know. It's where all this is happening. So, you know, this virus is as bad as ever, but at any rate, it seems the healthy people are struggling it off. I called my buddy down in Winnebago County. He and his wife have it, and he's really feeling well. It's been 10 days, and he's going to get out of quarantine. And of course, you know, our colleague Fred came down with it with a high fever on Sunday, and but he's doing well too. So we'll give you got our best, Fred. So okay, we need an appointment, Jill.
Yes, we have one appointment today of Mary, Erickson to the citizen member of the Nutrition Advisory Council.
There's a motion by Supervisor Lair, a second by Supervisor Gerald Murphy. Any questions? All in favor of that, saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
That is carried, and the appointment has been made. Announcements and correspondence, or announcements?
In your packet was a Child Support Awareness Month proclamation from the governor, as well as the WCEDC July report.
So with that, let's wrap her up. Motion by Supervisor Lair for adjournment. And a second by Supervisor Quistman. We are adjourned. That's undebatable.